Okay guys, part 2. Let's go back a little bit, and I'm showing you that I'm going to go back because I think I skipped the how we disabled this message. But let's go back. It's the last part of the part 1 movie. So I went back to check, do extra verification where this function has been called, or this method where it was called before. So like I said, we have 3 position, and I want you to remember that because this is the things how we will disable it. The first place, it was on this axis. We have axis, do extra verification. This will take 2 inputs, the GitHub privacy checker as an input, and it's going to take also a number, integer number, could be 0 or 1, and it's going to return just void. So as I said, when function return void, it means everything is executed inside the method. There is no impact on what is coming after it. So in this case, we saw that this is the message. We check also in the second place, and we saw that the second place exists in the verify function. Now, remember on the last video, we were checking all this verify function, and we see that all are related to privacy checker, privacy checker, privacy checker. And then we said, okay, let's see where this privacy verify function has been called. I went back, and we saw that it has been called in start function here, and this is the verify function, and we analyzed this one, and we saw that it has been called in start function. And then we check where the start function has been called, and we found that it has been called in the main activity. Now, because whatever I'm going to choose in the start function is going to finish with the verify, my thinking is, because this is a returning void and has almost no input, I can go like, let's show you guys this. I can go to main activity where the start function is, and just like comment this line. So the start will not show, and then nothing will show after. So I go here, and this line, because it's returning just void, I can come here and finish it. And this, while it's running the main activity and the start will happen, nothing will be verified and nothing will be extra verification, and get app will not be executed, and nothing will be loaded. But what if this start also happen in another place? So it's mean like I need to comment this line here. I'm not going to do it right now because it's still for the same explanation. And I need to go here and then disable this line also. So I need to do it in the 2 places. But I noticed something is also interesting, because when I go to start function is going to run stuff here, and then at the end is whatever is going to happen. What it's matter for the start function is the verify. And we know that if we go to verify, also verify is like a start. It has no input and returning just void. So different way could be used here to block this, because if I go one more time, like I show you, so I went to the start and to verify, and we notice that, oops, and I show you that the verify also go from do extra verification. So as I said, there is a different way, many way to disable this message. One way, I make comment on the start, then they will not run at all, and it's not going to happen in all the places where the start will appear. Or if I want, instead of commenting the start where it is and not let this run happen, I can just return void here in the start. So when the message is, the start is going to be called, it's not going to execute anything. And then by another way, we avoid running this one. If you don't want to do this and you want to do it in different way, so let's go and do this also. Let's say you didn't go as deep as this and you just arrived to verify, and you notice that verify is where everything is happening. Verify is very long list, but guys, don't be scared. Try, see, what if when it's go to verify method, I don't want it to do anything. There is no input and the output is void. So because there is no input, I'm not going to worry what is going before it. It's going to be called as entity by itself. Or I can come here, and because it's returning void, I can also say return, let's say, void here. All these methods are going to work. So any method, sorry for this. Any of these methods are going to work. So let's go and check which method I want to do. But if I want to make verify disable, like this, it's on this level I'm going to do it. Or, like we said, if I said, let's see, who called verify, and I went to start and I make a start void at the beginning. Or I went to main activity and the other activity, detail activity, and comment the lines. All this method are the latest places where or the first place actually, where those checks are starting. So I can come just here and disable this one, or I can come just here and say, so you know what, the start, I want to disable it. So I can do return void on the start. And as I said, if I go check who called the start, will be these two places. I can go also to these two places and comment the line. So this is the way how we can block those messages. And now I want to focus on another point. So like I said, I can come here and said disable this line, because it doesn't depend on anything. Just remove it. Remember, there is no input and the output is void. So disable this line is not going to hurt anything. And it's going to avoid the message to happen. And I can save it. Can go back here and detail and also disable this line. So the two places where this start sequence of checking if there is any of the app and give the messages or whatever is happening, I block it from the beginning of the check. Now, when I went to main activity and I went, like I said, on one create, I saw that I have some encrypted and message. This string is going to be decrypted, and the decrypted version of the string, or the string who is decrypted, is going to be solved in the v0. How I know that? Let's check smali. So, because I'm doing this tutorials to teach you how smali work and how you can figure out how you understand smali. So, it turned out that the function is helping me to understand what it's doing, decrypt. But it could be, instead of decrypt, someone changed the name and put it like A or F or apostrophe or whatever. So how I will know what it is? I look most of the time inside the function, and I look most of the time what it takes as an input and what it returns as an output to understand what this function is going to treat. So the input it takes here is a string, one parameter, and this parameter should be like a sentence. This sentence turned out, in this case, to be this one, the v0, because v0 is going to be replaced as the input. And we take this sentence here, who doesn't have any meaning, and we decrypt this. We put it in the function decrypt as an input, and the output of this function is going to be another string. So I expect that once this input went inside the decryption, the output of this decrypt, which is a string, is the same version of this one, but the readable, like we can read it. And it's going to be saved inside v0. So v0 is another constant string, and inside v0 will be, let's say, the decrypted function of this one. Let's say we figure out it is hello, and it will be the real word hello. Now, how we know how we can decrypt this function? I know most of people got scared when some strings are encrypted. First, let's write it, because I want everyone to listen and read. You don't really need to decrypt the string to understand how the code works. So it doesn't matter what is the word inside this. The real word was like access, success, whatever. I don't care. If I'm able to analyze the smali code, I don't really care what it is inside. So number one will be for me, you don't worry. You don't need to worry. Don't need to worry about the encrypted string. It doesn't matter. It's just to make it hard on you to bypass the code. All this here, if it wasn't encrypted, I will show you that. All this here will be replaced by one sentence. Will be constant string like v0 and the real word. Let's say the real word is hello. So if you decrypt this and you find how it's decrypted, you can replace all this block by just one line. Instead of going from here to here, then here, you will replace them just one line. Now, how we know how the decryption is happening and what is the way the tools was used to decrypt? We go inside the decrypt function. Remember, decrypt function will take as an input an encrypted string, and it will give us the decrypted one. Let's see this decrypted way on this way, how it was made. So I will go and decrypt here, and I will go inside the function. So this is the decrypt function. Surprisingly and easy to see, under it we have also the encrypt function. Something you can notice so easily. The decrypt function as well as the encrypt function is using the same constant string. This is, guys, the key. When you encrypt something or you decrypt it, you use the same key. And this is the key to encrypt the string with and decrypt it. We didn't understand yet how we use it, but remember that. This here, v1, in the both cases, this string are hard-coded string. It's not a string coming from a server, whatever. So you can decrypt it manually by hand if you want. So I will show you what this decrypt function take. Oops, what's happened here? Okay. A lot of people got intimidated by like code, decrypt, encrypt, whatever, think that this is like rock science. It's not as hard as you think. But in all cases, you don't really need it. But let's go analyze this, because this is like a part of smali. Let's enjoy this. The first one, I said like P0, they called it as a value. So the input here is, they called it as a value. And then they have another function called decrypt. And surprisingly, the same guy who did all this tests for the app and if this piracy, whatever, is the same guy who developed, the same GitHub, who developed this encryption one. So, doesn't matter. Let's go inside this function here to understand how the real decryption is happening. So, the first decryption function, just call another description function, but this time this decrypt function, it takes two input instead of just one. This one, the main one, take the encrypted string. The second one, it take one string and the second string. And as I told you, the v1 will be for the second one, and the p0 is going to be for the first one, and the v0 is going to be the output one. How I know that? So when you see this in Accolade, remember, the parameter you see, v, p0, v1, whatever, etc., maybe it's 10 parameter, doesn't matter. And when you see the function, like here in this case, decrypt, you have two parameters, like 1 and 2. The one close to this one is the same. So you start aligning them one by one. And the remaining one all the time will be an extra one. This extra one will be used for this or for the output. So in this case, the second one is the v1, is the key. And the first input is P0, which is the real string, encrypted string as an input. So let's go inside and you will understand it maybe better. This is a real decryption string, guys. Seems complex for you? Maybe. I will guarantee you it's not as hard as you think. Let's go have fun, guys. Here, they help you actually. Sometimes I don't add this. They said the first one is the data, the second one is the key. The second one here is the key, and the first one is the encrypted whatever string. So you take this as 2 as an input. We find the key before at this place, and we find the real string before at this place. So you take this one and the string and you enter them inside this one. He said, okay, let's have fun. Take a constant v0 and give it a value 2. And then v1 is a type of string. Okay, for now, we didn't see anything wrong. What's happened? But they said, this 2, take it to here. And this p1, the string, the encrypted string, put it at the second input. Those 2 are going to be run inside decode. And remember, this decode is to decode a sentence from base 64. This decode will take 2 values. The first value is a type string, which is the data, or the encrypted string. And the second value is v0, which is an integer, and you can see it here by the letter I, is an integer here. And what is the output? This is the first time I will demonstrate this output. This output is written that way. This means an array. So it's, I don't know if you have something in math knowledge. An array could be 1 column, which is like that. Could be double array. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this, whatever. Or could be like 6. In this case, it's just one array, single array. Of what type of? What is inside this array is a B. B for byte. So the output, when we decode this string, the output is going to be an array. Let's write it, draw it here. And it's going to be letter. Let's say hello. Let's say this is the decrypted version of the base 64. Once you do this, this is what the security made. They don't use the normal base 64. They use the base 64 of each 2 bytes. So they make it more complex. It's actually the same as base 64, which is not really an encryption, it's just decoding, but use base 2 instead of using the standard one. Then, this array of value, let's say, I will give you an example. This is the encrypted message. Let's say it's A, B, C. This is an encrypted message. When I pass it by the decode function, it turns out like F, R, S. I decode it based on the base 64. So this is now the output. They will take this output here, which is saved in the V2. They will enter it in the next function. The next function is the function XOR. The function XOR will take 2 parameters. The first parameter is the array of B, is this one. And the second parameter is a string, which is the key. And the output is going to be another array. And this array is the real decrypted version. So here they decrypted twice. The first time they use base 64, and the second time they use XOR. So what is XOR? Let's have fun. For people who know electronics, maybe XOR is not hard for them. So, I found it for you. Encrypted using XOR is very, very interesting. Let's say X1 is the first set of message, and X2 is the key. You take bit by bit, and you do XOR between them. When the 2 numbers are exactly the same, 0, 0, you return it 0. 1, 1, you return it 0. When they are the same, you return it 0. When the two numbers are different, you return 1. So what is the advantage of this XOR method? Look at this. If I write this is the encrypted message, and this is the key, and this is the decrypt, it works in both sides. If I have the key, I can decrypt an encrypted message. But if I have the same key, I can also take the decrypt message and encrypt it. Let's see. When I have 0, 0, the same, it will be 0. When they are the same, will be 0. If they are different, they will be 1. So XOR is an easy way to encrypt a message. You take the message, you take the key, this is the message, this is the key, and you do XOR between them. And the output, it will be the encrypted. If you take the encrypted version, you do XOR with the same key, you will get this one. The biggest advantage of this XOR is in electronic, it's very, very low level. It's very fast to execute. It needs like 4 transistors connected together. You do one function of XORs. The computer, the phone, the CPU, they are all made of transistors. And all these transistors will be executing XOR very, very fast because it's turn transistor on or off, 0 or 1. It's not like other encryption, AES or something. It's really heavy on the computer. XOR is a natural way to execute. It's one of the fastest encryption way and easy to decrypt actually. If you have the key, you know how to decrypt it. So now to use this tool, the second information this decrypt will tell you that the output file should be in format of UTF-8. And then all the other stuff you see here, try whatever, in case there is any mistake in the decryption, the system will keep trying, and if he failed at the end, he will execute the exception message. And then you do this decode, and then you decode it also because it's going to be 64. You decode it again, you do XOR again, and then you get the output. So you do it twice. This is why by hand it will take long time. But this decryption method is going to take 1 time and 2nd time. Someone who is good in coding, he can do this in Java very easily. I show a video how we decrypt AES, which is way more harder, by writing the Java code and decrypt any message when you find the key and the message. So this is the section for part 2. And now the last part, I'm going to discuss with you how we can bypass the login and how we can run and download the video in the app. And at the end, I'm going to share with everyone the modding file. You can go compare now and understand how I did it. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.